In a quiet countryside far from the noise of busy towns, there lived an old gardener named Rahim, who had spent his life taking care of a large orchard, filled with fruit trees. Every morning before the sun had fully risen, Rahim would walk slowly down a narrow dirt path that led to a small spring at the edge of the land. He carried a wooden pole across his shoulders, and tied to each end of the pole were two metal watering cans. One of the cans was strong and shiny. It held every drop of water safely and never leaked. The other can was old and had a small hole near its bottom. As Rahim walked back from the spring each day, water slowly dripped from that can, leaving a thin trail behind him. The strong can was proud of itself. It believed it was perfect. It often thought about how useful it was and how it carried water all the way back without losing a single drop. The old can, however, felt ashamed. It could feel the water slipping away from its hole as they walked, and every drop made it feel more useless. For nearly 3 years, this was their daily routine. Rahim walked the same path, filled both cans with water, and carried them back to the orchard. By the time they reached the trees, the strong can was still full, but the old one was only half full. One day, as the early morning air was cool and the birds were beginning to sing, the old can finally spoke in a trembling voice. "I am very sorry, Master. I feel ashamed every day." Rahim stopped walking and looked gently toward the old can. "Why do you feel ashamed, my friend?" The old can replied softly, "Because of the small hole in my side. You work so hard to carry me, but I can only bring back half the water. I fail you every single day. If I were like the other can, you would not have to work this hard." Rahim did not get angry. Instead, he smiled quietly and continued walking. After a moment, he said, "Tomorrow, I want you to pay close attention to the ground as we walk back from the spring." The old can did not understand what he meant, but it agreed. The next morning, Rahim filled both cans as usual and began the walk back. The sunlight slowly spread across the path, lighting up the earth in soft golden colors. As they moved forward, the old can looked down carefully, just as Rahim had asked. To its surprise, it noticed small green plants growing along one side of the path. As they walked further, the plants became brighter and fuller. Soon there were tiny yellow and purple flowers swaying gently in the morning breeze. The old can forgot its sadness for a moment. The flowers were beautiful. Butterflies hovered over them, and the air smelled fresh and sweet. When they finally reached the orchard, the old can looked at itself again and saw that, once more, half the water was gone. Its brief happiness faded. "Master, I still failed," it said quietly. "I still could not bring all the water." Rahim placed both cans on the ground and sat down beside them. His voice was calm and warm. "Did you notice the flowers along the path today?" "Yes, Master. They were very beautiful." "And on which side of the path were they growing?" The old can paused for a moment and then answered, "They were growing on my side." Rahim nodded slowly. "Many months ago, I noticed the small hole in your side. I knew water was dripping out as we walked, so I planted seeds along that side of the path. Every day, without even knowing it, you watered those seeds." The old can fell silent, drop by drop. Rahim continued. You gave life to those plants. You helped them grow. Because of you, that once dry path is now full of color and beauty. Travelers who pass by stop and smile when they see the flowers. Children sometimes pick them and run home happily. All of that happened because of you. For the first time in a long while, the old Ken felt something different. It no longer felt like a failure. It felt useful. The strong Ken, who had been listening quietly, felt confused. It had always believed it was the most important. It had never noticed the flowers because they were not on its side. After a moment, the strong Ken spoke in a softer voice than before. Master, I have always carried all the water without losing any. I thought that made me better, but now I see something I never understood before. While I kept all the water inside me, the other Ken was helping something grow. I never created anything like that. Rahim looked kindly at both of them. Each of you has a different purpose. You, he said to the strong Ken, bring full water to the trees. Because of you, the orchard stays alive. And you, he said to the old Ken, bring beauty to the path. Because of you, the journey is filled with life. He paused for a moment, then continued. If both of you were strong and perfect, I would have enough water for the trees, but the path would remain dry and empty. If both of you had holes, I would have flowers, but not enough water for the orchard. I need both of you. In your own ways, you are both important. The strong Ken felt ashamed for being proud. The old Ken felt peace for the first time. From that day on, they no longer compared themselves. The strong Ken carried its water with quiet pride, and the old Ken let its drops fall without sadness. Years passed, and the flowers along the path grew thicker and more colorful. People from nearby villages began using the path just to enjoy the view. Some even said it was the most beautiful road in the area, and every single flower that grew there had been watered by the small drops. That once made the old Ken feel weak. Rahim grew older, but he continued his daily walk. Each morning, as he passed by the bright flowers, he would smile to himself, knowing that something that seemed like a flaw had turned into a quiet gift. The old Ken finally understood that being different did not mean being useless. Sometimes, what looks like a weakness is simply another way of bringing goodness into the world.